looking so scared? Act like you're going to the funeral. I'm the one fighting. George Foreman. You didn't believe in all that stuff you've been reading about how hard he hits. George Foreman knocked down Joe Frazier. He'll destroy the kid. When you get out here, if you're afraid, just smile. Just act like you're happy. I'm not gonna win the fight if I went out thinking like you. Damn George Foreman.
What up? It's your boy, back again, Marlo Knows Basketball and Marlo Knows Boxing. Back at y'all with another one. This past weekend, we lost a legend, man. We lost a legend. The most feared man in boxing history, George Foreman. He will be missed. It's always sad when we lose a legend of this magnitude. But in celebrating the career and the life of George Foreman, it got me to thinking. My favorite athlete of all time is Muhammad Ali. And I believe Muhammad Ali is the greatest athlete of all time. Obviously the greatest boxer of all time. And I believe the biggest reason for that is George Foreman. The biggest reason that Muhammad Ali is the GOAT is because George Foreman was such a monster. George Foreman of the 1970s was the scariest man in the history of planet Earth. The scariest man in the history of planet Earth. I know people want to talk about Mike Tyson. People might bring up John Jones. No, this guy was destroying Hall of Famers. He was destroying Hall of Famers, walking right through people like Ken Norton, destroying them like they were nothing. We had never seen anything like it. The man was completely unbeatable. No one thought this man could be beat. And he was beating everybody. Everyone that he was beating, he was destroying them in dominant fashion. At the time, nobody thought that Joe Frazier could be beat. He was undefeated. Joe Frazier had just beat Muhammad Ali. No one thought that Joe Frazier could lose. And not only did George Foreman come and beat him, he made him run away. At one point during the fight, Joe Frazier was getting hit so hard and so much that he turned his back and ran. We'd never seen anything like this. The man was so scary, he was making legends like Joe Frazier run away from him. Not only did they not give Muhammad Ali a chance, they thought he would get killed in the ring. They literally were afraid that Ali might die. That's how scary George Foreman was. Again, the most scariest man in boxing history, in world history. Muhammad Ali came into that fight with George Foreman as an 8-1 underdog. No one gave him a chance to win. George Foreman was 40-0, had just destroyed Ken Norton, was 40-0 with 37 knockouts. This is why Ali is the greatest of all time. When in boxing history has someone fought and defeated such a monster? And not only does Muhammad Ali beat George Foreman, he knocks George Foreman out. No one saw it coming. And that is when Muhammad Ali became the GOAT. Officially became the GOAT. When he knocked out George Foreman. People thought he was going to die in the ring. Not only does he find a way to win, he knocks the monster out. And as big of a monster that George Foreman was in the 70s, he was also a monster in the 1990s. Going from fighting Muhammad Ali and Ken Norton, Joe Frazier in one generation, to going to a whole different generation and fighting Evander Holyfield. And Evander Holyfield can attest to how much of a monster that George Foreman was. Out of all the guys that Evander Holyfield fought, the Lennox Lewises, Riddick Bowes, the Mike Tysons, the hardest he's ever been hit was when he got hit by George Foreman.
coming at you at 100 miles an hour, and George Foreman is like a Mack truck coming at you at 50 miles an hour.
He had hit me harder than any other fighter. Even though he didn't knock me down, but with one shot, I thought he knocked all my teeth out.
I got hit so hard by Foreman that the bone blew up inside my eye and burst from the inside out.
And of course, George Foreman wouldn't win that fight against Evander Holyfield, but even though he lost, he almost won. That was a very competitive fight. And after that fight, Michael Moore beats Evander Holyfield, and then George Foreman knocks out Michael Moore. After George Foreman knocks out Michael Moore, he becomes the IBF WBA heavyweight champion, holding 2 of the 3 major belts. The only one he was missing was the WBC champion to become undisputed. And he did this at the age of 45. I heard a lot of Manny Pacquiao fans that praised him and thought it was the greatest thing they ever seen when Manny Pacquiao beat Keith Thurman to become the WBA welterweight champion at the age of 40. Well, George Foreman became the IBF heavyweight champion and the WBA heavyweight champion at the age of 45. So, if you think that what Manny Pacquiao did at 40 was impressive, winning the WBA championship welterweight title, George Foreman winning the heavyweight WBA and IBF heavyweight titles at 45 is way more impressive, which is one of the main reasons why I have George Foreman as a top 5 heavyweight of all time. For him to be able to come back at 45 years old and become heavyweight champion of the world and hold 2 of the 3 major belts. At that time, there was no WBO belt. 2 of the major 3 heavyweight belts, and be a majority heavyweight champion at that time, unified heavyweight champion at 45 years old, is one of the greatest things that we've ever seen in boxing history. So RIP to George Foreman, RIP the legend, top 5 heavyweight of all time. He has an argument for top 3 even. In my opinion, the biggest reason that Muhammad Ali is the GOAT, the greatest of all time, is because he had such a big monster to go up against. Because George Foreman was so great, it elevated Muhammad Ali to the greatest of all time.
And now Larry Merchant is in the ring with the once and future heavyweight champion of the world.
All right, George, congratulations. This is an impossible dream. Tell us your thoughts about what you just accomplished.
Well, for all of my old buddies in the nursing home and all the guys in jail, always remember that song, When You Wish Upon a Star. Doesn't matter who you are, anything your heart desire can come to you if you just don't give up on your dreams. I'm so happy, and I want to thank Seth Abraham because
Just 4 weeks before Muhammad's greatest fight, I was fortunate enough to be at his training camp in Deer Lake for an interview. After we'd climbed into the ring, what followed was vintage Ali.
No problem. No problem. This will be the biggest upset since Sonny Liston. And I think it is befitting that I go out of boxing just like I came in, defeating a big, bad monster that nobody could destroy. A hard punch. I'm the underdog. If he hits me, I'm in trouble, like the Sonny Liston fight. But I came back and I shook the world and I got Liston. Now it's 10 years since Sonny Liston. I'm meeting another big, bad, strong monster knockout artist that beats everybody. Sonny Liston knocked out Patterson twice, and I was supposed to fall, but he didn't knock me out. Because he could hit hard, but he couldn't find nothing to hit. George Foreman knocked out Ken Norton, knocked out Joe Frazier. True, I didn't knock him out, But I'm so fast, I'm so hard hit, I'm so scientific. I'm a total different man from Frazier Norton. Listen, David, when I meet this man, if you think the world was surprised when Nixon resigned, wait till I whip Foreman's behind. I'm telling you, David, I'm down to 215 pounds. Right now, I said it when 215. I'm fighting weight already. I usually train 6 weeks for fight. I've trained 4 months for fight. I'm chopping trees. I've done something special. I've wrestled with an alligator. I've tussled with
I believe you totally. I believe you completely.
I have tussled with a whale. I done handcuffed lightning, throw thunder in jail. Now, you know I'm bad. Only last week, I murdered a rock, injured a stone, hospitalized a brick. I'm so mean I make medicine sick. Man's in trouble.